Hello everyone, have you been? Welcome to another online tutorial. This is Stitches by Antonia. So today we are going to be learning how to cut a 6-piece skirt. Guys, please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Also, if you've not watched my previous video, please kindly go and watch my previous video on how to cut a princess dart bustier. On that video, if you watch to the end, you will see that the fabric on the table is the same fabric on my client. So on the video, we learned how to cut the upper bodice of the dress. Today we are going to be learning how to cut the down part of the dress, which is a 6 pieces skirt. So now I'm measuring the length of my skirt, which is 40 inches plus 1 inch of allowance, which is 41 inches. So the way 6 pieces is being cut is that the bigger or the fuller your skirt is, the more fabric you are going to use. So what I did here is that I folded my fabric into two. So on fold there is 12 inches. When you open it, is 24 inches. So I used the availability of my fabric to measure that. So after considering how full my fabric is going to be, then the next thing I did was to fold it. Then after folding it, what I did next was to measure my nail nail. So what I'm measuring there is 19 inches. So from my waist to my knee measurement is 19 inches. So after measuring 19 inches, I went ahead to measure my hip measurement. So, and which is 8 inches. So now you have to measure your client. If you are sewing for yourself, anybody, you just have to measure it. So after doing that, I went ahead to make sure my measurement is correct. So you can never be too sure. So I have to make sure I am having the correct measurements on my fabric. So after doing that, after making sure my fabric is being measured correctly, the next thing I did was to divide my hip and my waist by 12. So because it's a 6 pieces skirt, instead of dividing by 6, I divide it by 12 because I want my skirt to be very full. So I divided my waist and my hip by 12. So the figure I got there, I had to put it on my fabric. So after doing that, on my knee measurement, instead of putting my exact hip measurement on my knee measurement, I reduced it by 0.5. So instead of having 3 inches, instead of having 3.5 inch, I went ahead to have 3 inches. Then I connect all lines together. I had to connect all lines together. Remember, this is a 6 pieces skirt, but I fold my fabric into 2. So this particular fabric here is just 1. It is not 2, it is just a piece, just one. Please don't misunderstand it. This is just one of it. So I'm still going to cut extra 5. I am still going to cut extra 5 of this. So as you can see me doing, I'm cutting it. You understand, you need to take your time. You don't need to rush, you just have to take your time when you're cutting it. So now, like I said earlier, the availability of your fabric determines the fullness of your dress. So this particular fabric is 5 yard. So after doing my calculation, I tend to understand that, okay, if I fold it into 2, so if you open the fabric now, instead of having 12, you'll be having 24 inches instead of 12. So after cutting this, I went ahead to cut extra 5. So 5 extra fabric. That is what I went ahead to do. So at this point, you need to arrange your fabric very well. You don't have to be in a haste, because if you don't arrange your fabric very well, if you don't manage your fabric, you will end up wasting your fabric. You end up wasting it. So you have to take your time to make sure you arrange your fabric properly and nice. As you can see me doing, arrange your fabric properly and nice. You don't need to be in a haste. Nobody's chasing you, it is just you. Nobody is chasing you. So I went ahead to start cutting. This is second piece. I'm cutting the second piece as it is now. So this second piece, I'll go ahead to cut extra 3, sorry, so that it will be 5 inches. So now I am cutting exactly the same thing that I cut the first fabric. I'm cutting exactly the same thing. I'm not shaping anything yet. I'm just cutting exactly the same thing. So now after I've cut the all 5 pieces, I'm left with the back, so I have to cut the back. Now the back, because of the zipper allowance at the back, it has to have extra 1 inch, and I wanted a tail, not too much, just a little bit. I think I added at the back of the fabric, I just added about 5 extra inches just to have just a little bit of extension. So that was what I did. I added 5 extra inches at the back, that is at the zipper area, just to have a little bit of extension. Now because I am managing my fabric, that is the reason why I'm just adding 5 extra inches. Now if you have enough fabric, you can go ahead to add about 10 inches, 12 inches, 20 inches, depending. The tail that I added is not a mermaid tail. Those long one at the back is just a simple one. I didn't want the back to be straight, so I just added a little bit of tail to it. So at the center of the back, I just added 1 extra inches for zipper. So that was what I just did. So I make sure I measured my 19 inches from the waist to my knee, which is 19 inches, so that I can know where my extension will be. You understand? So this thing is just simple logic. You just need to take your time. You don't need to be in a rush. So that is my new measurement I'm measuring now. So you can see I'm just trying to, from there, just straight, then from that nail I just extended it. You can see it's no longer straight. I just extended it just to give it a little bit of fish illusion at the back. So I have to make sure all my measurements are accurate, because at this point I'm managing the fabric and I would not want to have shortage of fabric. So I have to take my time. You can see the little bit of extension that I added at the back. You can see it's not too much, but I didn't want the back to be straight, so that was the reason why. So this is just one side and that is the other side. Just one side and that is the other side. So now after cutting my fabric, I just want to to have an idea of what I'm doing. So I had just pinned it. I pinned the fabric. So this is the center back. You can see the back. You can see how it is. You can see the fullness at the down. So that is what I want. You can see the fullness at the down. Are you seeing it? It's not too much, but at least it's still something. So after doing this, I also went ahead to pin the front, sorry. I went ahead to pin the front. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how it is. So after pinning it, then I went ahead to measure my waist and my hip. So I went ahead to measure my waist and my hip to make sure I'm in the right track. You understand? You can never be too perfect. You can never be too perfect. So after getting what I needed, and I saw that, okay, yes, so this thing is accurate. Okay, I was like, yes, Yana, you're good to go. You understand? You can see the down. I see the down. Oh my god. I just so fell in love with that down, as in it's not too much, oh, but at least it was still giving me that, that fullness, you understand. So what I did was I was just trying to measure my center front, the 3 pieces, to make sure that they are together. You can see how the back is. So what I do is that, you can see that curve at that back. Now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to curve it. This I'm going to sew it straight. It's going to be straight at that center front. So after doing all this, I went ahead to cut my lining. My lining is exactly the same thing on my fabric. There's no difference, the same length, just the same length. So after cutting my lining, what I did was went ahead on my sewing machine and I put them all together. So guys, this is just how simple it is. There's no many singing, no many things there. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying to the head. Bye bye. See you for the final result.
Amazing on the mix.